If you've got one of these on your desk, or maybe in your backpack because you like to make beats on the go, you actually have your hands on something that's a lot more powerful than it gets credit for. So today we're gonna go over some of the most important features that are underutilized to improve your workflow. Now, in order for us to access a lot of the cooler features for the MPK Mini, what we need to do is download the MPK Mini editor. And the way that we do that is through the InMusic Software Center. And you might already have this downloaded and installed on your computer because it's how you access the software that comes with your MPK Mini. So you might already have it, and if you don't, it's a good reason to download it. So this is what the MPK Mini editor is gonna look like once you download it. And it's just basically a digital representation, but with values that we can change with our mouse and keyboard, which is pretty helpful. So now what we need to do is make sure that our DAW and our MPK Mini are communicating correctly together. They're kind of like listening to the same conductor, which is our tempo. So what we need to do is I'm gonna press Command comma just to get our settings open. And we're gonna go to the Link Tempo and MIDI tab here. A few things are checked here. This bottom section is gonna be the section that we focus on. We need to make sure that the commands from the MPK Mini are being received by Ableton. And the first main one that you'll come across is track. So that makes sure that as we play notes, there's actually notes coming through. If I turn this off, nothing is going to come through. So that's really important. The next important thing is that we make sure that sync is turned on for our output. So that's the instructions that our MPK Mini is receiving from Ableton. What this is doing is it's saying, I can listen to the tempo from Ableton and apply my arpeggiator accordingly. And so now, if I have the arpeggiator on, it's listening to our tempo and it's recording at the right rate. Another way this is really useful is if you're recording in some hats. So I like to keep the arpeggiator on for this kind of thing too. And you'll notice above all the keys, there is some white writing. And in order to access all of those, you need to hold note repeat. And this gives us a ton of options. For example, we can change the arpeggiator rate. So let's change it from 16th to 8th note here. And I'm also gonna hold note repeat and head over to the right and let's select a swing percentage, like swing 61%, let's say. Now, when I record in a similar way that I just did with the chord, now here's a question for you. Have you ever felt like these pads were cool, but if you're trying to play like a bass sound, for example, the notes aren't really making a ton of sense? We can actually use something called Auto-Populate to change all of these notes at once to something that's a lot more usable, like, a minor scale, for example. So if we go back to the editor here, what we need to do is adjust this pad section here. So if we go to the top and we go to Tools, Auto-Populate tool, I'm just gonna check the box of this first one to say, we're gonna set the scale to these pads to be, instead of chromatic, this is actually a drop-down menu. We can select something like something cooler, like a harmonic minor. And then I'm also gonna say, let's start with the note. I'm gonna type in 24 so we can start with a higher octave. And then I'll press apply to bank A here and we'll exit out, hit send to RAM and send success, which means it's been uploaded to our MPK Mini. And so now if we have Serum pulled open, check out what this sounds like. I really like that for when you just want to just mash the notes like with a bass sound, Speaking of mashing pads, did you know on the MPK Mini Mark III and above, the pads are actually pressure sensitive. So what we can do is we can control different parameters depending on how hard we press the pad. So let's take a look at how to set that up. So if we're back in our editor here, what we really want to do is focus on this drop down right here that's after aftertouch. If we just change it from off to channel, now the pads are actually going to send that information to our DAW. Okay, so if we hit send to RAM and make sure that the send is successful. Now, if you're using a third-party synth inside of Ableton like I am, what you need to do is right-click the Ableton plugin box at the bottom in the channel strip and just make sure that enable MPE mode is on. You'll see it says MPE if it is. Now, usually this changes the setting inside of the synth itself, but it's worth checking if you just go to the main menu here and make sure that MPE enabled is on. Now, the other thing I'm going to open up is an expression control here. And this is going to allow us to assign the pressure to one of the parameters inside of our third-party synth, which in this case is Serum. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to press this little caret button and I'm going to press configure. And you can see I have two parameters here, the cutoff and the resonance already configured or configurable. It basically gives you an option to assign different things inside of Ableton to the parameters inside a third-party synth like Serum. So if I click like another button, like a drive, for example, it's going to add that parameter, which is now configurable. Now, what I'm interested in doing is pressing a pad and having that affect the filter cutoff. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to the press tab and make sure that the source is pressure. And you can see that there's this target and map button. And once I press map, it's going to start blinking and it's going to basically ask me what I want to connect that to, what I want to actually control it with. What we're going to do is we're going to click filter cutoff. And so now you can see that the target is set to filter cutoff. Okay. So when I actually press a note down here, we can create some kind of cool wub sounds. You can even like change some of the parameters, like the curve, for example, make it a little more sensitive. So that's really, really fun for bass sounds, especially. I think one thing people really miss when they're using a little tiny keyboard like this is the ease of the sustain pedal, right? So if you don't want to carry around your sustain pedal everywhere, even though there is an option for you to actually plug one in, you can actually set up a pad to function as a sustain pedal as you play out your chords. Let me show you how to set that up. Let's say that we wanted this corner pad, pad 4, to function as our sustain pedal. All we really need to do is change the CC value here to 64, because our DAW always expects the information about the sustain pedal to come in on channel 64, okay? So we're kind of fooling it into thinking that we're pressing a sustain pedal here. And then I'm just gonna hit send to RAM like we've been doing. And then on our actual MPK Mini, what we wanna do is make sure that the, where it says pad controls, that we press the CC button, which basically converts all of the pads to send CC information instead of notes themselves. And so now, if I play some chords here, it's like magic. And maybe you might want to assign it to like one of those bottom left pads so you can play with your right hand or whatever. Now this last one is the most important one of all. You can play a game. If you hold full level and you hold the joystick down like this, we get Snake Game. All right, so we press a button here. And this is obviously great for when you're waiting for the guitarist to tune up and you need something to do. Throw your PlayStation away, throw your Xbox away. All you need is Snake on your MPK Mini. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed making the most out of your MPK Mini. And if there's any features that I missed, I'd love to hear it down in the comments below. And now, it's time to go make some music or play Snake. We'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.